What's going on, guys? Kenny here from 619 Guitars and Gear, and I want to welcome you back to yet another episode of the NK Star Wars themed headless mod project. This is part 5 already. We're going to do this one and one more, which is going to be the final assembly, and we're going to wrap this project on up. We'll keep this one short and sweet. Things are really coming together here. We got the wood grain filled in with the red in the last episode. And yeah, it's starting to look really, really good. In this episode, we're going to tape off the sides of the body. We're going to get the thin red burst sprayed on the top. And then maybe we'll do a little bit with the neck and get that finished too. So jumping right into it, we taped off the sides of the body. I wanted to do the burst so it was only on top and then have there be a nice sharp line in the transition from the sides to the top of the body. And I really think with there being a burst on the top and then cutting that line off and keeping it nice and sharp on the sides, it'll just kind of have a real nice contour and really separate things a lot, and it will look really good. I was a little nervous and hesitant to do the burst. I just didn't know how it was going to come out. And I feel like once I did my first couple passes with the airbrush, I was like, this is going to be great. Like, I instantly could see that this was going to turn out really good. I was a little even hesitant to do the burst at all because I didn't know how it would look with the wood grain filled in. You know, originally when I had this idea, I had seen an Aristides that was just flat black with the thin red burst, and it looked really, really good. And I just, you know, not to copy anything, but I wanted to just, I was curious how that would look with the wood grain. So we went ahead and did it. You know, worst comes to worst, we could just redo things. But then once I put it on, I was like, oh my God, this looks so good. And I'm really happy I decided to go do it. It blends in perfect. It is the same red. I used the same paint to do the wood grain and the burst. It does look a little bit brighter, but it's just because it's still a little bit wet. Once it dried up, it blended in really, really good. And then once we put a clear coat on it, it kind of tied things together and made it match even more. So after that, we untaped the sides. I was really happy with how the burst came out, so we could untape everything. And once you see the burst and then you get like that nice crispy line underneath the burst on the sides, it really just made a separation. And you can see here, it looks really, really cool. It keeps things separate. Like the burst didn't really overspray onto the sides like it would on some projects. And it really looks cool. I think I'm really glad I did the burst, and I'm really happy with how it comes out. Definitely has that Star Wars, Darth Maul, Kylo Ren vibe. And yeah, I want to maybe do something at like the 12th fret, maybe make like the first order symbol or something like that, just to make it more themed. And yeah, we put the neck on and just to, you know, mock up and see how it's going to look. And with the matching burst on the little headpiece there, it just looks really, really good. And I'm super excited. I can't wait to get this thing done. So we went ahead and put the final coats of Satin Poly, and obviously I like to brush on the Satin Poly. Yeah, a lot of people will spray it on, but you can get a pretty similar result brushing it on as long as you do it evenly and you don't like prematurely dry it with like an air dryer or something like that. Just let it do its thing, put it on, let it self level itself out. If you put it on a little heavy so it's not too runny, but will self-level itself. That's a weird word. Self-level to level itself. But anyway, it self-leveled itself, and then, yeah, it turned out pretty flat. You could see really no stroke marks or anything like that. So then we let that dry, and we moved on to the neck. I wanted to do something different and do a tung oil finish on the neck. I usually will do like a Satin Poly on there too. But sometimes it gets a little thick and you can see some like stroke marks. And yeah, I said, you know, let's try the whole tung oil thing. A lot of people do it. And it's really popular. And I did not know that tung oil will take paint off. So on the heel of the neck there where I had painted some black just to cover up the blue, I didn't want to sand there. And there was still blue stain right there from the, you know, how it previously was. And I didn't want to sand the heel of the neck. So we had just painted the black over it, just because a smidge of that does stick out past the neck joint on the body. So there'll just be a little bit of a black line there. I'm going to have to touch it up now because the tung oil kind of wipes them off. I didn't know that would even happen. but it's all good. You can see here it's a little rough line where that black is, but we'll fix it. We'll make it happen. But the tung oil looks great. It adds a nice sheen to it, and I'm really happy how this came out. So stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to finish it up and get it assembled. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, we'll see you later.